Hello, everybody. I'll give it a minute and see who comes on. In the meantime, I'm going to light my Palo Santo. Somebody's supposed to come for a healing today. We'll see if they show. If not, that's okay too. Like I said, I'll give it a minute to see who comes, but I've got a message coming through today for somebody, for everybody. A few cards by my side, and we'll see who actually shows to the live. There's a lot coming through right now, something really cool too. So if you actually watch my videos, I do things that are not normal. From activating pyramids, clearing Mount Shasta, raising Atlantis, freeing Jesus' soul, undoing the unholy grail, uniting Sekhmet and Horus, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Adam and Eve once again. Those were actually part of my twin flame journey because I am the return of Christ. But the proof is here. It's up to you guys to see it because your free will choose if you can rise or not. And one thing God always says is your relationship to the one is proven in the love that you have for the one and being able to see truth, right? Seeing Jesus. But who is Jesus? Everybody's just expecting a man, and it's not just a man at all. It's man and woman. Jesus and Mary Magdalene, Adam and Eve, and Sekhmet and Horus. Good morning, good morning. So, the reason I'm live today is because somebody messaged me wanting a healing for them for an emergency situation. So I said I would do this today. Otherwise, we are doing a cleanse right now that has kicked my ass. I ain't gonna lie. It started a few days ago, and yesterday we cleansed like the brain. Oh my gosh. And you can see it in my sinuses. I was like, whoa, holy majoli. So that is what's up with that. But I have to tell you guys something. Yeah, like that cleanse was great. I slept, but I didn't want to get up. I was like, I'm just gonna sleep for like 3 days. Like I'm gonna not tutor tomorrow. So anyways, I spent time activating pyramids, right? I did that over the since 2019, I've been activating pyramids. These are the feminine and masculine ones. The feminine ones I did before I woke up my twin flame. And then that battle ensued, right? And I got a walk-in. And then my walk-in helped me do the masculine ones. Now, these are pyramids that we wouldn't think of. There's one in Thailand that people didn't even know existed. Machu Picchu, really, there's a pyramid there. Indonesia, Budapest, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Congo, British Columbia, Ecuador. We did so many. But right now, there's actually a lot of earthquake activity near Krakatau. Now, when I did the Kilimanjaro, Congo and British Columbia ones, I also demolished the White House. And I undid the connection to Stonehenge because they were aligned in such a way where it was like taking power, right? Ley lines and things like that. And I undid that. I went under the caves underneath it and kind of blew it all up. But in that, I kept saying Krakatau, Krakatau. You have to watch that one. It looks like the White House burned on the picture. But it was the Kilimanjaro, Congo, and British Columbia one. And I kept saying Krakatau, Krakatui, but I had never heard of that volcano before. And I was doing it underwater. And then 6 days after that one, it erupted. And right now there's like major earthquake activity going on there. And with the full moon that we're in right now, I'm like, yeah, if you really watch my work, you'll know what the Earth's about to do. Or why the things that are happening and all of this kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. So I'd recommend watching that one. Super important to watch that one. For shizzle, my nizzle. Because, activating pyramids is not normal. That's nothing people have done before. I did shift the poles at one point, and then we added more when I took us into 7D. So if you think the earth is not going to change and spew and move and burn and shift, it will continue to do so. Okay. And then Mount Shasta alone, cutting that off from life support and watching it crack down the fault line, that will come too. And other people are reading that in the energy, right? But we will never know when, right? Because God would never tell you. It's a karmic timeline. So whenever you would hear people going, oh, the world is ending on this day, they don't know. Maybe theirs is, but they don't know. So never worry about when. It's always about, what can I do now? I know shit's coming. We know the world is changing. I know what I did. I know I brought down the blood of Christ. That was weird to actually see that, because I did that before I undid the Holy Grail. And to see blood come down and cleanse everything, I was like grossed out at first. I'm like, what does that mean? Because it was just happening through me. It was my awakening. And I know what's happened. I know what's coming. I know what's shifting. I know it's the end of ways for all, and the end of days for some, right? Those that choose not to rise, those that choose not to hear, those that choose judgment over love, those kinds of things. So what we can do in the moment is to never be afraid, because fear is not of God. All right. So if I spark fear, that's your lens. Okay. That's the shadow. That's how they would manipulate. So don't pay no mind to that. Don't think about, oh my gosh, it is the end. Oh my gosh, these things are happening. If something big happens tomorrow, would the whole world freak out? Possibly, but that's not the focus we want, right? What we want to be able to do is hear God in the heart space, listen to our higher self, listen to our soul, the nudges. What do I need to do because I want to make it, right? That's number one. Okay. So here's the message that was channeled right before I came on. I don't really know. I was just writing it. It was just coming through. Malachi. Malachi is the one who says that. That's what I hear. So change directions now. Boom. Change directions now. So somebody has not been listening. They've been listening to the ego or shadow over love. Okay. So when they say change directions now, you need to figure out, where did I not listen? Where did I not surrender? Where did I throw judgment out? Okay. And then go back to that space and start from there. Take action before it's too late. Okay. So as these moons shift, because if you watch the work that I did, I undid a lot of darkness from the moon. When Horus rose recently, you guys, when Horus rose all the way, my DM took on that soul. But we did stuff to the moon. I did a lot of things to the moon. Shifted it, rotated it. There was like this dark casing on it. And I even saw this like image of the moon, like, what do they call it? Turning black or turning gray or something. I'm like, well, it makes sense if you watch the videos, because there was like this casing on it that I cracked, and then the moon is expanding. So imagine what that's going to do to our weather and our earth and things. But the energy, right? Just the energy influxes can be quite massive. We can feel them spiritually. We can feel them physically. We can feel them emotionally. And with this moon, it's a catalyst for change, but a lot of them are. So that's what we need to use it for. The energies right now truly are taking action, right? Where has your heart been nudging you? Where did your ego take over and think that you know better, right? Because that's an issue. Because we don't see everything in our limited mind. So you're co-creating. The question is, who are you co-creating with, right? So it takes more healing than you know, okay, to rise into the new earth. The new earth is a whole different ball game, and I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow. But it takes more healing than you know, than ego will tell you, okay? So you should be constantly healing. There should not be a break for that, really, except for integration time, right? You have to choose to rise and choose to listen and reflect love internally and externally, because that's what God is. Everything else is a lie. So the whole way, right? You have to do that the whole way. I choose to rise. Oops, I made a mistake. I'm going to get back up. That's all it is. Never focus on the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Never focus on yesterday or tomorrow, or as the earth shifts, or all the earthquakes or fires or anything that might rise, right? Because if you watch my videos, they're in there. I talk about it a lot. I talk about the earthquakes. I move the stuff. We talk about when I opened up the gates of heaven, everything that doesn't align with that vibration burns. Okay. So be very mindful of that. but never focus on that. It's what do I need to heal? So healing alone, healing it all the way. It takes a lot more than people would think. I've had people ask me, well, how do I go to my past lives and heal those? That does you no good. Hi, just Saint. Because the way it plays out, and that's what Revelation talks about, right, is trials and tribulations through lessons in disguise. Because the way to undo karma is to not go backwards. You can't undo those contracts or you can't heal them. Okay. They were created by you for a reason. It's because we are meant to align with those that we've affected, where we've chosen outside of love before, and to clear it through lessons in disguise, because it plays out the way that you created it. Okay, so that's very important to understand. So I am wiped out, you guys. That brain thing yesterday, my sinuses are like on something. Oh my gosh, that brain detox, man. My sinuses, it feels like this, just like vortex in my head. It's so weird. Um, so really the reason I came today. So GG, I don't know what you said. So GJS. I had, so remember when somebody was supposed to come for a healing before and they didn't come? Well, I got a message and I told them to be here again today at 11. So if they don't come and they don't speak up, they're not going to get the healing. It is what it is. So I was going to tell you guys too, if you're doing the detox with me, it's time to really truly start. So juices, I'm going to put some recipes and some ideas in there. But I would tell you it's important to really watch what you put in your system right now, okay? Because we're already starting the detox of the physical vessel. So start with lots of water, lemon water. Oh my gosh, I know. Just saying, it's like, I really need that for the brain detox. 2222. Me too, man. This one's kicking my butt. It really is. It felt really cool doing it. And then last night I was just so like drained. I was like, ugh. I was trying to finish my deck of cards and I was just like, ugh, I can't compute. And then I slept really good. And then today it was like right away what I heard is we have to start watching what we're putting into our bodies because we want to start detoxing that. Okay. So we're going to move the detox further down the like intestines and bones and all that kind of stuff and tissues and cellular structure. And so it's beginning, right? So I was going to try to put like the PowerPoint in there today, but I don't think my brain's going to let me. I don't think I can do much. So what I would say is just start with lots of water, lemon water, celery water is important, whether you like it or not, right? Like it's like medicine. Think of it like medicine. Celery water, pure celery juice, celery water without sugar. I have a juicer and that's the way I do it. I just literally stick my stalks in there and get the juice out and drink it straight up. And I make my kids drink it too, because it's that actually repairs your cellular structure. It rebuilds the cellular structure. It helps repair the synapses of the brain. It also helps to detox the liver and the kidneys, and the gallbladder and the appendix. And like even the medical medium guy talks about that one big time. So that's a good one. Now remember, doesn't mean we can't eat. Please don't starve yourself if you're doing the detox. But be mindful. Like I have a salad for later. Yeah, absolutely. And so you can do smoothies too. I found yogurt that is non-lactose. It's non-dairy yogurt, plant-based yogurt. So I'm going to try it. And I put that in there and I have ice cubes and fruits and kale and I'll just mix it all. And then I'll do some like protein stuff. So do it how you need to do it, but I wouldn't add sugar to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Coconut yogurt. There's lots of different kinds of things. You know, you'll hear people talk about fasting for God, fasting for Jesus, and don't do that. Your body needs sustenance. it's okay to fast for a little while. Like I will fast for, I don't know, 12 hours or so, but overnight and into the next day. And then I'll eat in the evening and afternoon a little bit. So what we don't realize is if you go too far, your body goes the other way. You need sustenance. We need things. And you'll hear people talk about, well, those are the vegans that are dying and starving. Dude, they're starving themselves. Don't do that. We got to eat. Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that. Yes, just say me too. So I got a new ice maker thing. So I was going to drink my tea cold as well. But and that's just part of the suggestion for the tea. Like you can add more into that. I even got some beetroot pills and stuff. Yeah. Mint is a really good detox too. So if that's avoided, maybe you add something else like arugula. Try to do some of that because there's greens in there too. So think about like the colors, right? So if one's an avoidant, you want to add something else maybe to it. Orange spice, yeah, I'll add a cinnamon stick, pure cinnamon bark stick. So those are some of the ideas. And remember, honey is tricky because if it dissolves, it's not real honey. You don't want when it dissolves. It just shouldn't dissolve. You want it pure honey. And if you can get it from your local area, that's good too. But that's also a detoxant if you do it right. So, when somebody messages you and wants an emergency healing and they don't show up to the live, I don't know what else to tell you. You're lost, okay? But I tell you to come. You got to come. All right. So the message is change directions now. Somebody has listened to the shadow. Somebody has anchored in. And this is a big deal. If you don't change directions, it's going to really anchor you into that shadow. Take action before it's too late. Okay. That's just, sometimes it requires just a change in perspective, but the ego is so tricky. The shadow is so tricky and can be so strong, and it gets you in your weaknesses. It gets you where it's gotten you before. And it takes strength. That's why not everybody's going to make it. It takes strength you don't know you have, but you have it. I promise you. But this is also DM directed as well. So we all have something we need to listen to. Okay. You have to choose to rise and choose to listen and reflect love the whole way, let alone healing it all. Okay. So that's kind of important right now in the energy. And I was just going to pull some general cards. See, that's the thing is people will reach out. People want to do things. They want to change. They want help. They want the healing. And then they don't show. Why? Because your shadow gets you. The way your shadow will get you is to make you think everything else is so much important. Everything else, loud, in your face. Do this. You can do it your way, right? Your way over God way. No, forget that. That's the ego. We know that, right? I think at some point in our journey, we all have tested that one. Well, I want to do it this way. And God says, so there's been exchanges with this person. I'm not saying there's not. But each time they go to rise further, their shadow is getting stronger and stronger. So that is part of it as well. I've known this person for a long time. There's been exchanges. It's just right now. So when you reach to a certain level, the shadow really tries to get you. Really tries to get you. It happens every time. Saint knows this. Amy's not here, but she knows this. I mean, it's happened to us all, really. And that's kind of what truly happened when the original DM, didn't choose God, he was trying to choose love, right? But he wasn't strong enough in the end. They were really, truly trying, like, killing him. And he just couldn't see fully clearly. So that's part of it too, is if we can't see fully, if we can't see clearly, the ego convinces you. It's crazy how it works. Okay. And that's why it's super important to never choose anything that is not of God. And so understanding who the true God is, as opposed to all of the muck and the yuck and the crap and the fake and the lies, is super important. And that is what it is. That's why people have anchored into the darkness all the way through. And that's why my path can't just be given to everybody. No, you have to choose to rise. And trust me, because I tried to even give it to my mom like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, here, mom, do this. Here, mom. She'll go to try to do it and it disappears off her thing. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she just finally gave up. Okay. All right, then. All right. So I'm pulling from this deck. I can't wait till my new one's done. It's getting longer. So I'm at like 26 now, 26 cards in. I'll lock it a lot. I do. I'll lock it a lot. All right. So this is what's coming out with this deck. This is the Ascension Portal Messages. This one I channeled through as I was bringing about the entire Ascension. So when I was opening up the portals, this one channeled through. Releasing happens in layers, right? So we have people think that they know what they're doing. I've had so many people tell me this. Oh, we're healing it all on our own. And then I actually did come for an emergency healing and they were at the first portal. So don't ever let your ego tell you. You don't know, right? The best thing to do is pay attention to who you're co-creating with. That will help you because we're all co-creating. It just depends on who you're listening to or what you're listening to. So remember, healing and releasing happens in layers, just as we rise in layers. It takes multiple layers of releasing, and that's required and happening at this time, okay? And that's in the energy base. So I also feel like the DM is getting a lot of pressure, but so are people who need to do something. They need to act, okay? So just because some believe one thing does not make it so. Be careful what you believe in. Follow your own soul. This is a big time one. This is actually Machu Picchu in the background as well. These are all the portals that I've activated. That's the images on this deck. So just because some believe one thing does not make it so. Just because people believe Jesus died for your sins does not make that the truth. Just because they're thrown down your throat so many times that he died on the cross does not make that true. And I can't deny what I did because it all came through. So the shadow will try to blind you the whole entire way. Okay. Here's that potential card again. That's judgment. So when you hear people go, well, yeah, you've got potential. It always makes me want to stick my foot up their butt when people say that to me. It's like, I am badass now. Right? You either grow with me or you don't, bitches. No, I'm just kidding. Potential accomplished and created does not exist, as we all have the same potential vortex. Okay. Don't limit unjust. Simply celebrate instead. This is an important card that's quite layered. These are ascension messages. These are enlightened messages. Okay. And have you ever heard people tell you that? Well, you've got potential. You've got potential. I think we can get there. If you don't love me now and you love me for my potential, then that means that I'm not good enough for you and you're in judgment. Okay. So, whatever. Just like somebody came to my video one time and they're like, I need to see the proof of the Nile drying up. Well, if that's what you're waiting for, it's going to be too late for you because that's the final portal. So be careful. But it will. Don't worry. The only future we really have is now. Okay. Your tomorrow is not guaranteed. The past is already gone. So why keep bringing it forward? If you do, you're stuck, right? So if we keep bringing the past forward, that's a good indicator that you just need to heal and move forward, move on. All right. We get stuck that way. We also get stuck thinking too far ahead. So you can't think about the future and you shouldn't think about the past. Aw. Just saying you didn't have to do that. Oh, it's not really a waste of my time. I shouldn't have said it that way. It's never a waste of my time. It's just I was like urgent. I was going to help because somebody was in the hospital the other night. So you think it would be important to show. But I didn't mean that. You didn't have to do that. Just ain't you paying for so many things over the years, sunshine. That's not for you to worry about. The lies are never a waste. I just don't think I would have put out for healings otherwise because of the detox. But I can absolutely do a personal message for you. Absolutely. I think I was just a little disappointed. Yeah, well, thanks. Absolutely, I can do that. I was just a little disappointed because they're like, oh, I need this healing, and this is the second time. I'm like, okay, come to the live tomorrow. You can't let the shadow stop you. I can guarantee you, though, when people try to go to work with me, the shadow always tries to stop them. Yeah, it's a little disappointing. It's a little like, dang, you can't force people. You just can't. You just can't force people. You can't force people to rise. You can't force people to see God beyond the shadow. You can't force people to do things. Just like I was trying to give my mom the path. Like, that's my mom, I'm like, hey, do the path, do the path. Here, do the path. You got to heal. You got to heal. And it was literally like being blocked. She would go to open it and she couldn't. And then somebody would stop her in her energy. And I was like, Mom, you have to take it seriously. And after like the 12th time of attempting, I gave up. We can't make people rise. You can't. And that's why I can't give away the work that I did, like the path. Because your shadow is quite dangerous and quite powerful. Right? One time, so many times throughout my journey, I will see people go, oh, I need this, or oh, I want to do that. They'll show up. They'll start to get things, right? They'll get downloads. They'll start to see things clearly. And then, bam, it like hits them and they fall off and you don't see them anymore. And then the next thing you know, they never rose through the portals. And it's so sad how that happens. But it happens quite often. Just again, the ego is quite tricky. The shadow is quite tricky. But the life is not wasted ever. I just wouldn't have put out for the healings because I'm like, that detox on my head was insane. So I'm just tuning into what you need. Just saying, which I don't have right here. Hang on a second. Okay. Getting a different deck for you. Just made me sad for them. It's like, dang it, that's twice they did that. So essentially what that does is anchor you into the darkness. It sucks. Then you got to climb out of the hill, right? Got to climb out of the vortex of the shadow. We've seen this before. It's happened to us all in some way, shape, or form throughout the journey. So you just have to be careful. Excuse me. Already starting to release as I go into your energy. My ass is kicked. I'm spent. It does suck, doesn't it? It really does. And that was kind of, it goes along the conversation we had the other day about the religion part too. Like, how many times do you see people not show up here at 11:11 on Sundays because they're choosing church? And I talked about how God is not in the church. And if you can't see that, that's because you have shadow to heal. What was done in the darkness can no longer be used for light. Okay? So it's the divide. And the divide, well, because, the DM hasn't stepped forward too. If he would, it would help people see clearly before it's too late. And I feel like that's why there's also pressure applied there. Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. We shall see. And, if they don't, they don't. But that's kind of where we have to be understanding of free will, right? Because there's going to be people we want to rise. There's going to be people, and I see people doing that. Well, I want my friends. I want my family. This is the Great Reset. So no matter what, our soul ties will shift. If they choose to not make it, but they're going to shift anyways because all karma has to be cleared. So our karma relates to those that we generally truly rise with a lot of times and are surrounded by. And that's why if we don't choose to rise and heal it all, they can't either. It's all because there's contracts that relate to those, right? So when you think about it in a contract sense, it helps to see it too a little more clearly. Like, consider if I didn't do my path, nobody would be able to heal it all. We wouldn't have made it, right? But now that I did, people have that opportunity to go into the new earth. Before I do your message, the other day I saw this guy post and he's like, Revelations lies. There's going to be no new earth and abundance. And I'm like, dude, that's not true at all. The new earth is pure joy, abundance. There's no suffering. I know this because I'm in it. Everything you do dictates your future. You have to be in God's vibration. It's going to be a total difference. But I know what I did too, right? I know that. But that just shows you the layers of the shadow and what people can see and what people can't see. It is difficult to accept other people's free will. But that's what God's been saying since I started this journey, is you can't ever worry about that. What we have to worry about is ourselves and continue shining our light, and hopefully they'll see it, because the universe, God, the energy doesn't give up on them the first time. It's always that it knocks on their door a few times. Like, are you sure? Are you sure you're sure? Are you sure you're sure you're sure? And then eventually that door closes, right? So it's more important to not focus on that, because that also blocks, right? So that's the tricky part. All right, just saying. We're going to do a message for you. Let me get a sip of water. Oh, telling you, that kicked my butt, that detox for the brain. Kicked my butt. It kicked my butt. All right, you ready? Incumbent measures is what I'm hearing. You have to stop measuring. There's something about measuring with you. It's like, I'm measuring. I need to see things. I need to see all. And God says that is not serving you, because you're missing things by doing that. I feel like that's the ego. So there's a little bit of ego going on, like dictating, but also clouding the vortex a little bit. But something about incumbent measures. So it's almost like I'm measuring things. I am measuring things. And unless I feel like it's exactly what I want, I'm not doing it. And God is saying that that's not going to help you, because we can't see it all at one time. And so if Spirit nudges something, there is no way we can see the full purpose as to why. That is part of ego. That is part of judgment. We may think that we can. We may think we know why. We may think that we know what's going to bring. Like in my journey, I had no idea why I was doing some of the things I was doing, or what the outcome may be. And even when I tried to think that I could see it, it turned out to be something totally different. And each thing, even if we think it doesn't matter, each thing leads to the next, which leads to the next, which leads to the next. So if I don't take this step, I won't make it to the next step. And I don't know what that one's going to be. So coming out of a world that's dying, it's impossible to see something that hasn't been created yet. Okay? So consider you and I are in the new earth. You have your complete blank contract. I even undid a few of those things for you. So everything that you're doing is creation of a new reality. That's why I tell people, you haven't made it in the new earth until you have a brand new contract with God. Trust me. We know this, and it can bite you in the butt if you don't understand that. So if whenever things try to, like old patterning, right? Think of it as old patterning. I cannot create my future in the way I once did. I have to do things differently. I have to do things differently than the way I did them before, because this is a brand new space. It's a brand new earth. Every opportunity is there, and I am writing my future as I go. Because when we went into the new earth, remember what happened? The whole karmic contract just burned. It disappeared. You cleared it all. It totally went to ash. And then we get the blank contract and a pen, right? We get the golden pen, a blank contract, and God says, yeah, you chose love the whole way. You rose through all of your karma. You chose love over the shadow. You made it. You made it. You are free. And that's where the word free comes in. But we have to be careful because we cannot do things the way that we did them before. And so as human species, we live in our comfort zone. And it's important to know that you can't create from knowing. We can't create from familiarity. Oh, excuse me, or comfort. And this is something I have to remind myself every day. No. Excuse me, I have to be careful with what comes into my energy. I'm very careful with what tries to bombard me. What I play into with the twin flame stuff, especially, like yesterday, it was a lot of the past will try to rise and convince me that love is not there and stuff. And I'm like, I have to be very careful. We have to be very careful what we are focusing on, listening to, looking at, thinking about, and to be able to not have all the answers, because we are literally creating our future from the right here and the right now. There's two realities going on. Those that haven't risen yet, which is a majority of the world, and the few of us that have, ahead of the game, right? Because when you do my work, you're removed from the collective soul. And we already made it. And so that's hard because it's like living in two realities. One is dying and the other is being born. So truly look at everything as a blank slate, okay? You cannot measure. You cannot measure possibilities. You have to trust in blind faith, because you are literally writing your now and into your future. So everything you think, everything you do, everything you speak, everything you focus on is becoming that. Okay? So you have to face this in your shadow. This flew out at me right now. Face your shadow. Now remember, when we heal the shadow, everybody's like, oh, I need more healing. No, this has to play out in the external. Make no judgments. This is big. No judgments of self, no judgments of others, no judgments of the nudges. Now, think about the conversation we had recently. Is like, it was subsumptive, right? You didn't know, but that was in the energy. So things will try to convince you something's happening to get you to say something that isn't true. So you have to truly kind of work on being a blank slate every moment of every day. This is super important because you're in the new earth. You have your blank contract, you have your pen, and you have a purpose you don't see all the answers to, but you can't. You can't wait for the answers. You can't wait for certain things to happen. And I feel like you're waiting for something. And God says that's a waste of time. It's here now, and you have to take steps now. So seek the hidden treasures. What that means is deep diving within you. That's what you should focus on. Listening to your body, raising your vibration, but also raising your gifts, right? Focus there. Focus on, okay, it's time to grow my gifts back. It's time to reacclimate, because there's nothing stopping you except for convincing yourself you're waiting for something, measuring something. So make no judgments on anything or anyone at all, because that's part of the energy that's constantly trying to get you. So when we heal the shadow for the ascension, it's outside of you, right? And it will constantly try to play out to get you to anchor it back in. So consider that. Consider everything going on in the energy. Is these energies are pissed. Like, they have to leave. They have to exit. And as we rise further and further, they have to exit more and more. And then those you're connected to, their shadows, right, are trying to also get you. So the energy is so vast and so hard to see and understand. Looking for the understanding is your shadow. Don't do that. Literally sit with it. Remember, you're co-creating at all times. It just depends on who you're co-creating with. The shadow or ego or yourself. So make no judgments at all. Be very mindful of that. Very mindful. Reflect on your truth and your truth only, and nobody else's truth, because you really don't know what's going on, right? So reflect on your truth, and this will help you rise. This will help you see clearly. And then when we need things, call it in. Talk to God, talk to Creator, call it in that way only. And when somebody shows up and says something, so here's how that works. So when I tell you, call something in, we don't push it out, right? We don't push it out. We don't push it out. Call it in. You're open, you're ready, your vibration's going, you're following the nudges, either the numbers or however spirit communicates with you in that moment, and you're ready to go. And then you say, okay, God, bring to me who needs me. Bring to me who needs this. Bring to me who is ready. Show me what I need to see. Bring to me who is ready. And then we forget about it. We go about our day, we do our things, and then randomly some Joe Schmo is going to pop up and go, so I felt this weird thing, and I just thought of you, and maybe you can help me. They will say something in there that relates to what you were looking for. Boom. It's like, boom. Why is it done that way? Because that's how people hear the call. Okay. So just because your ego tells you God is picking them, that's not how it happens. Ever, 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 ever. That's your ego. That's a shadow. That's you thinking that you hear God in a different way than what God actually reflects. God is subtle. God is in the heart. So the reason we call it out and call it forward, right? Have God bring it, is because God will put out a call, and only those that hear the call will respond. So they don't do it through your voice. Okay. It's not like you can go to somebody and go, hey, I feel like you're a chosen one. That's not for you to decide. Tell God and say, hey, this is what I would always do on my journey. I would never, ever put myself out there the way others do. Ever. I don't care. Ever, ever, ever. I protect my energy, and I would tell God to send them through. And it's never who we think it's going to be. It's not always who we want it to be. Sometimes it is. Then the next thing you know, somebody's going to rise and say, hey, because God put the call out. And if their heart's open, if they're listening, that's who's going to show up. And they're going to say, man, I just felt this nudge to be there. I needed to be there. I felt like I needed to be here today. I just got this feeling. I got this feeling that I needed to call you. And you're going to be like, they listened to the call. That's how God chooses. God doesn't choose because you're like, well, I think God's choosing them. God would never do that. That's your ego. Because it has to be through free will. So those who are listening to God, those who are hearing the message, will hear the call. Okay, like for example, I'll read your comment in just a second because this is important. For example, so remember when we went through the course of how Spirit talks to you, right? So in those moments, what are you doing with those moments? That's a good question. What are you doing with those numbers? When those numbers pop up, what are you thinking about? What are you doing? And what are you spending your time doing? Are you stop, dropping, and rolling? Okay. You have to you went back to baseline of communication, and you just need to rise it again. Okay. So I would tell you that, because it's more beyond that, right? The numbers are just a catalyst. We should take it further. But what I was going to say is, on my journey, when I first had my awakening, money, right? God took my job switched. I went from my career to having to focus on this stuff only, and it freaked me out. I'm like, oh my God, I need money. And God's like, no, we don't focus on it like this. It's energy. We call it in, you do this. And plus the twin flame journey dictated that I couldn't do anything outside of my heart center. And what I thought was my heart center is not my true heart center, right? Once you heal enough, you realize that it's a different world. So I was just following those nudges, and it wasn't like a reflection of I have to make money. I have to make money. It was just like, God says, do this. God says, do that. And I was just literally following my internal nudges, and I needed money. I did. And I would just listen to God. I wouldn't think about the money. I wasn't thinking about what was owed. I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. And I remember like feeling that like alignment, right? And then randomly somebody from my past popped up and was like, I felt the nudge to give you $500. And this person had hurt me in the past. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what? And they're like, no, not to give it back. I just feel in my heart, I have to give this to you. And it was exactly what I needed. I'm like, how is this happening? That's a prime example of God giving the call. Okay. I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't ask anybody. I focused on my heart nudges. I focused on my internal reality, my world, not the external, not the matrix, not lack. Just raising my vibration, do whatever the nudge was in the moment to do. And God put out a call. And somebody chose to hear that call. And literally, they came with the words of, I felt I had to give you this money. And I'm like, what? They're like, I know I hurt you in the past, and I'm sorry I did that, and I just feel like I need to give you this money. And I'm like, I can't pay that money back. I don't want it. And they're like, no, I need to give you this, and I don't want it back. And it was exactly what I did. And I was like, oh my God. So that's an example of telling God to call it forward. People get so caught up with, they think that they are God. They think that they are seeing through God, and it doesn't happen that way, because that's your ego. People have to see through free will. Okay. So God looks for those that are hearing his call. And that's what I tell people all the time. Whenever I put out the path to righteousness and people throw judgment and ego my way, it's like, that's not your path. Put it down. That's not your path. Yes, I can charge for that. God is looking for those who hear the call in their heart space. Okay. I don't call people up and go, hey, I think you would be great on this path. I think you need this healing. Because I can do that until I'm blue in the face. But if they're not hearing the call of God, they're not aligned. Okay. So, like, if I go to do a healing on somebody and they're completely blocked, there's no way they heard that call to be there. There's no way that was somebody saying, I choose them. Right. But that's not God, because God will put out the call for everybody. It's who has their heart open to listen. Okay. So never look for validations in the wrong places. Be careful what you're listening to. We have to reflect on our truth and our truth only. And remember the lines of communication. We went back to like the baseline. So just take it further again. Just open it up to further understanding, further communication. When the numbers rise, what do you do with them? Are you telling God to bring things forward and then acting on what shows up, whether it's what you expected or not? Okay. Because God will put out the call. That's the craziest thing. Like, I can be here and go, okay, God, I need this and I need that. And then I just don't think about it anymore and I go about my day. But if I'm not open, it can't come through. But as long as I remain open, reflective in my heart space and in balance, it will come through in the most crazy, miraculous ways. People will literally show up at your door and go, yeah, that's a whole, yeah. So that's the way it works, right? This is why it's really good to understand this, because that's free will. You cannot see that. You can't see people's heart spaces or anything, right? God does. God knows who is meant to rise. God knows who can hear the call. But just say, let me finish up your thing here. This is important because if Jacinte has quite a big purpose, and it's one that can be overwhelming for her, because it requires a lot of vulnerability when God gives us a purpose sometimes, right? If God gives you a true big purpose, it can knock you on the floor, right? Like, because it takes pure strength sometimes, it takes letting go of all the shadow, and it takes pure vulnerability. And right there, the ego is going to tell you, don't do it, you're going to die. Don't do it, everybody will hate you. Well, then you say, I don't give a damn, right? If they hate me, they hate me, fine. Because God is bigger than we are, okay? He's bigger than we are, and they see everything. So as you rise into this, if you have a bigger purpose, you're going to really invoke people's shadow in a bigger way, okay? And this is the way it is. All right, so hang on, let me take a drink and I'll get right back into finishing your message, Jacinte. Yeah, but it's hard if we don't understand. You know what I mean? And I feel like it just takes understanding. Sometimes it just takes that perspective shift. So, whenever you need something, your ego will tell you you can choose and you can't choose. We can design it, we can visualize, we can call it in, and we can hope for things. Like, I wanted to be this person, but if they don't hear God's call, if the work that I do with the new earth, they have to go through God. I am a direct line because I brought it all through. But even I call through God. Okay. I want my mom to rise. I've tried to shove this thing down her throat so many times, but she can't do it. Okay. So we can't choose. It's who can hear God's call and who's willing to rise to that. So we have to do it through God. Okay. And then there's also that energy of trying to take my power. So from the beginning of time, it was Eve's power that they were snuffing out. Okay. The feminine. Look at all of the feminine they've been snuffing out. And they did it through stealing the masculine soul. They turned them against each other, right? Because I'm not fully me without him, and he's not fully him without me. So it takes both. And I would always ask, and too bad Amy's not here because she'll be able to understand this too. Because as a twin flame, I was like, why is it always the feminine that has to do it first? I would get frustrated. I would get tired. And I'm like, why can't it be him carrying me for a little while? Why can't he fight the shadow and help me rise? It's the feminine first. Okay. So you have to think about that energy. You have to wonder, hey, is it my ego saying that she doesn't really guard the gates, or is it true that she does? Right. Because that's why the Bible tells you is your relationship to spirit is reflective to your relationship to Jesus, right? Or the one that's here. And so there's layers upon layers to this of understanding. Okay. So consider we don't know. Consider we don't know who's hearing God's call. If they cannot hear it in the heart space, we can't tell people. I sit here all the time and show people, look what I did. I brought down the anointing of the blood of Christ. Look at this. Look at this. I activated Kilimanjaro and I burned Hawaii, but people won't look at the video. People won't watch it. Their heart's not open. Okay. And so I sit here all the time getting treated like crap a lot, right? Because we're looking for those that can hear it in their heart space. Those are the ones who will make it through. Those are the ones who can hear God, who are choosing love. Those are the ones that will follow the nudges when healing is required. And they won't let their shadow stop them because the shadow's not in here. It's in here, right? And so if I say, hey, let God call it out, but I can sit here and tell you until I'm blue in the face and you won't hear me. That's happened. Okay. Not you just sent, just in general. That's why just sent when you would listen to everything I would say and you were putting it out, I'm like, girl, there's something in you. Like you are like putting it to action. All right. So there's a difference. That's a really great understanding. So know your shadow. Make no judgments. You never know why. You never know why. I can see to the bottom of people's hearts. I can see their entire heart, but that's because I do heart reviews. Only a God can do that. Okay. People can't do that. It's your ego that's going to tell you. It's your ego that's going to say, well, I think they need to rise. We all hope everybody rises, right? We have to shine our light, reflect on our own truth, be internal, not external. If God says, hey, protect your energy, there's a reason. Okay, there's an absolute reason. And then you don't realize that your ego convinced you otherwise. You thought you knew better. You thought you could do it your way. And the next thing you know, you're cut off because you're not open here. You're here, right? That's just, it's as complex and as simple as that. So let's see what this deck has to say. So reflect on your truth and your truth alone. You don't reflect on other people's truths. Don't do that. Don't wonder why they're here. Don't let, you know what I mean? Like never, ever throw judgments towards anybody or yourself ever. Like the other day, and I was like, oh, that was not right. That was not our energy, right? Because it didn't reflect my truth. Okay. So you have to be very, very, very careful with that. You have to face your shadow, only your shadow, right? Understand how the shadow works through you, and that will help you bypass other people's shadows that are trying to get you as well. Seeking the hidden treasures within you. That means the only thing that we can do in the here and the now is work on us. I need to work on me. I need to open my heart space. I need to listen to God. I need to be here in the now, and my ego can't take over. If God says do this, there's a reason. Okay, and I wish Amy was here because she knows that. It got her too at one point, right? And then she was scared, thinking she was going to make it, but she did. Because the ego will convince you you know best, but God says, you don't know what you were supposed to clear. You don't know why I said that. You don't see everybody around you, but I do. That's God, right? God knows who's hearing his call. And that's why it has to be done a certain way, is because if their heart's not open, if they're not hearing God's call, they're listening to the shadow. And we can't bring that into the light or it burns. It will burn. It won't make it. Okay. So we can't force, we can't dictate, we can't choose. God has to. Right? I can see more than anybody else can, but I still give it to God. Because if they are not rising through free will, I cannot force them. But what can help them is me listening to God. Okay? Because, right? Okay. But this is a shadow component. This is how it works. And it takes a lot to understand. Oh, they're popcorning out. Hold on. I'm not done to say it. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, yeah. Whoa. Geez. Okay. No, those fell. All right. Okay. Hang on. Okay. All right. Okay. There's something going on here. So I got reconciliation. This is a family tie. Okay. Just saying, this is a family tie rising. It's going to take great strength though. So reconciliation is in order for a reason, because it's a soul tie. It's a karmic tie. This is your shadow. This is your shadow. Seek hidden treasures through this also. But this is part of the shadow. And part of that is where judgments rise. Now, you know where those come from. Those are not your heart anyways, but it's the shadow. Okay. But this has to do with reconciliation. It's going to take strength. And you have to focus on well-being of that individual and you as well. It has to do with that. And then happiness. It's truly about letting ourselves feel happiness. That's part of the shadow as well. It's like, I'm not allowed to be happy. That narrative has to shift, and it has to shift very, very, very quickly. We are allowed to be happy. Absolutely. There's so much love and glory and joy and abundance, and everything outside of that is not of God. It's not. Okay. That's why the new earth is totally different. Totally different. You have to be pure healed to get in there, because the vibrations don't match. Right. So where we're like, I don't deserve this, or I don't like to say those words because I am in the new earth, but you know what I mean? Like the negative dialect, it's the shadow and it gets you hard. Okay. But this is also something about reconciliation, and it's going to take strength. Do you understand? It's going to take great strength to be able to stand in the shadow, to not reflect the shadow back, to not let judgments anchor in or be reflective through you. Because this reconciliation is important. It's important. It's part of your purpose. And also, you deserve happiness. It's letting go of the narrative that says otherwise. And it's about your true well-being. Okay. So this is all encompassing. This well-being is that if I go into judgments when God nudges me to do something, because judgments will start at ourselves a lot, right? And we don't realize that. That's the shadow, and I'm hurting my own well-being, but not only mine, those that I'm supposed to reconcile with. This goes deeper too. Let me take this a whole nother level. This reconciliation also has to do with you clearing something out of the collective shadow for the whole entire soul. But that makes sense because you rose with me on a specific purpose, okay? So the more that you focus on your well-being, your strength, your joy, your happiness, the love, and you let go of all the shadow components and you follow the heart call, you are going to reconcile that out of the collective soul. Does this make sense? This is quite a complex message, but all very relevant. And the time is now, God is saying, not tomorrow. Take the steps now. So what you're looking for is the end all solution in one day, and that's not what God says. God says, follow my call today. Ask me what I need you to do today, and follow my call today. Remember, we're always co-creating. It's who are you co-creating with? The light or the shadow and ego? Still not done. They want one more card for you out of this deck. Okay. Yeah, no, he says, don't wait till tomorrow. There's always something you can do every day. There is something you need to do every day, okay? Because every moment you're not, like closing time. I keep hearing that song. This was a song my DM was playing the other day. You don't have to stay here, but you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, right? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not about the end of the journey. It's about what I can do every day. And every moment I delay, somebody's anchoring into the shadow, including myself. It's closing time. The journey of enlightenment comes to soul growth, due to soul growth. Where you go depends upon the work you are willing to do. That is the rite of passage. Let me read that one again. They want me to read that one again. The journey of enlightenment comes due to soul growth. Where you go depends upon the work you are willing to do. That is the rite of passage, and that is why not everybody will make it. Because not everybody's willing to open their heart and listen to God, no matter how much we want them to. That's why we put it in God's hands. Yeah. That's why we put it in God's hands. And even though I want somebody to rise, I will sit there and try. I will tell them. I tell people till I'm blue in the face all the time, look who I am and look what I've done. And how many people do you see allow their heart to be open? It's less than it should be because of the DM. Okay. It doesn't mean he doesn't love me and he's not rising, right? So no judgments there either. But if people choose not to hear God in their heart space, that determines where you go, because it takes soul growth to come out of the old world and go into the new one. And only those who can hear the call through their heart space. Now, remember when I activated the Sphinx, I said this, the portal of time. I said, now I'm calling people home to their heart space. And then God showed me that is to me, because I did the work. That's the path home. Okay. It's the one I created either way. And so if they can't hear me in the heart, they can't see the work that was done through the heart, they aren't going to hear you any other way, because that's where God is. So when you say, hey, God put out a call for me, and you're like, well, I think it's them, that's your ego. That's not God putting out the call, and they hear it and show up out of the blue going, I felt the nudge to show up here today. And then you're like, oh, shit, it works. But that's who heard God. And you're like, thank God they're connected. Thank God they're connected, because they heard the call through the heart space, not through your voice necessarily. Yeah. You're welcome. This is part of your power. Okay. Because you know your purpose is big. That's why it invokes your shadow. All right. This reconciliation is big. This has to do with your immediate family ties and the collective soul. You have to reconcile it all. So one stage was undoing it through me. The rest is through listening to God in the heart space without delay and without hesitation and without understanding of why. Not here. Here. It's not easy. That's why there's chosen ones against not chosen ones, because they choose to stand no matter what. Like De La Roca, right? He chooses to say things, and stand in his truth. And there's people all the time going, he's not real. And I'm like, dude, he sees what I do within 24 hours. You don't know what you're talking about. He is real. He sees it through here. He sees what I do without knowing me, because what I do is that of the one. So I'll do something in the energy, and you can see there's people who will see it, and they will see it in layers, right? But that's because they're opening here. They can see the Akashic records. Do you know something? There is this lady who reads the Akashic records, and that's what she does for people, but she can't see a thing I did. And everything I did is written in the Akashic records. Why? It's like that one lady going, oh, you're just I, and that's your ego. It's like, dude, I don't have an ego. I can't have one to do what I did. And to be in the new earth, it's not, I know the difference between the shadow. She's reflecting hers back to me. If they can't see what I did through the energy or through what I say, they are no longer connected to that light because the shadow is too large in them. Can they reconnect? Absolutely, if they do it in time. Okay, because we are on a timeline that is already ending because all the work I did is done. So that's why it takes every day listening to the heart, even when it causes you to feel weird and vulnerable and scared. And even when your ego goes, nah, you can do it your way. I've had people do that before. I will give them a specific direction, but what you don't realize is it's about clearing your karma, right? So you may not see why. You may not want to be alone. You may not want to do it that way. You may want it your way. You may want it right now. You may want to do it this way and that way. And I know I can do it. And what you don't realize is you just anchored back into that shadow. Because God tells you to grow as a soul, because the journey of enlightenment comes to soul growth. Where you go depends on the work you are willing to do. That is the rite of passage. And I had to do it too. Remember what God first told me in my awakening. You're not like the others. That already kicked me back 10 feet. I was like, screw that. I don't want to do it. Why am I never like anybody? It sucks because people's judgment hurts, right? So it's the first thing I said, you're not like the others. And you know how many spiritual people tell me, oh, we all did that, or oh, that's not you. It's like, dude, I'm not your ego, okay? Somebody had to be the one. The rest of you are not the one. Not everybody can be the one, okay? Not everybody can activate pyramids, clear Mount Shasta, all, you know what I mean? So it's like, no, you're not getting it. I am who I am, and you can't. That's a power struggle. Everybody wants my power. So I will say something, and they'll go, I can do it my way. And that anchors them right into the shadow. I had to do it too. God says, you're not like the others. Allow yourself to be yourself and accept every bit of who you are. You know what that did? That caused people to judge me the whole entire way. I was alone. I didn't have friends. I had to protect my energy. I had to do the work through God. And that was my whole life. I couldn't work. I didn't have my friends. I couldn't be in psychology field anymore. My kids thought I was crazy for a little bit until they saw the truth unfold with me, because we all saw it together. Like, it was very uncomfortable. It was very vulnerable. And I didn't understand it. And to accept who I am, to have people just throw judgments my way all the time, it hurts, right? Like, they were like, do this and do that. And I'm constantly like, God, they're not hearing me. Why do I do this? But it's because only those who can hear the call anyways are going to make it, because this is the end of the world. It's the end of ways outside of God. So it's the end of the world as we knew it. And it's time to go home, like when I activated the Sphinx. So when I put out that call in the heart space, that's how people have to hear it. They have to rise from, just saying, Becca's here. Becca, I was just getting ready to leave. I've been here for over an hour. Just saying, so maybe she'll come at the end. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm a little sad she's not here. She's here. Wow. Just saying was right on this one. I was sad, Becca. I'm like, she ain't here. She's not coming again. I don't know why I'm here today. And then Desant was like, well, maybe she'll come at the end. I'm like, I don't know, man. Girlfriend, you're lucky I didn't leave, because I was just about to end it. All right. I'm glad you came. You were letting your shadow get in the way, and I'm going to kick you in your butt. I kick you in your butt, Becca. You're letting your shadow get you again. That's what I thought. And I was like, damn it. She let her shadow get her again. And look at you. Here you are. Okay. So I don't want to know what's going on. I know you told me a little bit. I don't want to know anymore. Who am I doing the healing on? Tyler? Just Tyler? Is it just the baby? That is the baby, right? Just the baby? All of you? I don't know, man. That's a lot. I mean, that would be one by one by one. I can't do you all at one time. I will start with Tyler. I will start with the baby, and we will let spirit dictate from there. Okay. All right. So I will start with Tyler because I know there was a hospitalization involved and things like that. And he is the one who needs it first. And that is where I'm going to start. You were this close, though, to letting the shadow get you. Don't do that. Okay. Urgent, show up, urgent, woo, woo. Because I was like, she's not here again. Like, we were expecting you last week or the week before. Yeah. Oh, that's why you're one of my favorite people, because I can tell you the truth and you're right there with me. All right. I'm already starting to feel sick as I'm going into his energy. Hang on. How old is he? Like a year and a half now? Like 15 to 18 months? Something like that. 2? We're getting there, right? Okay. Oh my gosh. So as I go in his energy, I feel like I have the flu. I want to throw up. My head hurts. My sinuses hurt. And I can't breathe, like RSV, right? 2 in May. All right. So that's what I thought. But even my airways are constricted. Okay. His airways, like they're tight, like almost my bronchial tubes, everything's constricted. He just got hit really hard. Oh, sorry. And my head hurts. And I keep hearing like RSV, and I'm going into my ear. My ear hurts, my head hurts, and I can't breathe. But even my legs hurt. So there's a few things going on here. He does have growing pains. That's one of them. So my legs hurt, like my body hurts. But there's 2 reasons why. One is because my whole entire immune system is fighting itself. 2, and also his like T cells, everything's heightened. Everything's kind of wacky. And then the other is because he has growing pains. So his plates are shifting a little bit. His bones are starting to fuse more and more and more. So that's a part of that. He's an indigo. Did I tell you this before? Why do I feel like this is familiar? Oh, my head. Oh. Oh, okay. I'm having a hard time getting in his energy. You're going to have to bear with me because as I'm getting in, I feel sick as a dog. You don't feel good. Be careful with some of their medicines, okay? They're going to cause an adverse reaction. He doesn't do so well with them. And then a genetic disposition to the kidneys. So I'm going to draw the light up into his feet. So I have to cleanse his energy on the outer layers also. And I'm drawing light into his feet and his ankles. And it is like tiny feet. Like he's so small compared, right? Like I'm used to big feet. These are little feet. Oh, he's so adorable. He's just so happy. His demeanor, he's just so joyful. He's full of life. He knows he's like here for like goodness, right? Like he knows he doesn't have a lot of suffering coming in the future. It's not meant for him. Oh. He has quite the purpose when he gets bigger too, like a boss or a leader of a sort. But that's neither here nor there. So I'm going into his calves, his knees, his thighs, his little hips, He's a little, what I would call bull-legged a little bit. So I'm just kind of aligning his bones. I'm just drawing a little bit of a straight line through his legs and his bones. That way they don't bow too much. That way they just realign because his plates are starting to fuse more and more. And then I'm immediately going to his liver and his kidneys immediately. And I even feel it. I feel it in my gut. And I do see kind of some medications here I have to bypass. So I just need to flush them through. And I keep hearing RSV. And like almost like a little bit of strep throat, and my bronchial tubes are tight. They're very tight. They're very like inflamed. They're very tight. The dirt around your home, like radon, something's in the dirt. So you just need a little bit better filter. I feel like your home is not brand new, right? So there's like some stuff in your ducts. There's some stuff in the home. And what would really help is like filters. An ion filter? Is that a thing, you guys? My eyes are closed. That's what I'm hearing, like an ionic, like ion filter. It's like this thing. What is ions? Oh. And then I almost feel like there's like more clay, right? Like not a lot of nutrients in the land necessarily, like it should be. Just because our earth is just what it is, a little wackadoodle, right? There's a little wackadoodle going on. And the soil and the atmosphere, it's like purging. And so all these things are rising that we don't see and we don't always notice. But I do hear like radon in the dirt near your home, which is what, like a gas or something, right? Like it's something that's not good. And it needs an ion filter. They're not too expensive, but I would say it's probably a necessity. Excuse me. Now I need to go to his lungs, and they're so little. Like I see his little lungs. It's almost like I can hold them in my hands. And then I'm going up the bronchial tube. My head hurts. He has a headache. Like a migraine headache. I feel like it's like this pressure in my head, but he can't tell you that, right? Like he's so little, he doesn't know what's happening. It just hurts. And I almost feel like this pressure behind my eyes. And then my ear. I need to clear out my ear, and my eardrum's inflamed. Can't breathe. Lots of congestion just going through my sinuses right now and into I like have a sinus headache, like it hurts. So I'm trying to get through the pain because I'm almost like taking on his symptoms. But what they're telling me is because he's so little, I'm helping him filter some of those out. So I feel sick. I feel very sick. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I feel very dizzy. My head hurts. I can't breathe. I feel like I have the flu tenfold. Like I feel super yucky. But they're telling me by allowing that to process through me because he's so little, I'm able to start filtering that out of his system. So I'm taking some of his symptoms for him. Okay. But I would never recommend somebody do that, but it's a special thing I get to do right now. My ear hurts. Oh, feel good. I'm gonna throw up. Like I'm not hungry. I'm very just aversive. I'm a little bit lethargic. I'm tired. And yeah, I'm not comfortable. And I can't breathe. And my ear hurts. I'm gonna throw up. But I do like my cup. Like, I like my comfort things. And I want my mommy. That's how I feel. I'm dehydrated. My kidneys are reflecting that. And so I'm literally bringing light into his kidneys, his liver, and I'm going to his lungs. There's radon in my lungs. And then I want to say RSV. Like, I can't breathe. And through the bronchial tubes, I'm moving all this mucus. And then like dripping mucus makes me want to throw up. And my head hurts. You have a message of it's time to pay attention a little closer to things, okay? So part of this is happening for a reason. He's not like that's not why he's sick, but this is something to take notice of and start paying attention more closely to the signs and the messages around you, because chaos will ensue in other ways as well. Okay, Becca, that's for you. I feel fury. This is horrible. I don't usually take on the symptoms this bad, but I feel like I'm taking them from him. I feel absolutely horrible. I'm boosting his immune system. So actually I'm going into his brain through his brainstem, and my head hurts really bad. Like, everything's hurting. Everything's congested. Everything's just like but I'm sending like this light into the head space. And that's where I'm starting to upgrade his immune system. I need to upgrade it a little bit. It needs to be a little stronger. His pituitary gland, I'm going into his hypothalamus, his gallbladder area, his kidney, and his liver and kidneys. And this is where I'm upping his immune system through. So I need to upgrade it, like just an upgrade. Was he formula fed or something, right? And so his immune system just wasn't built all the way. Even if he had some breast milk, I feel like he just needs a stronger immune system. I'm literally going through, I'm sorry, I feel really sick, so I'm taking his symptoms. I'm going into his liver, his kidneys, and then I need to go into his heart valve and remove the mucus there as well. And it hurts. I don't feel good at all. I really do feel sick. And I'm so little. And it's just overwhelming. I feel like he feels what I'm doing as well. Like, he's responding. Because he feels relief right now. I'm literally like sucking out his symptoms. I'm sucking out the yucky. I feel like I have a fever. I feel like I'm super lethargic. I'm super irritated. My head is starting to feel better, but it was hurting really bad. I'm upgrading his immune system, and then I have to go into his genome pool and repair something. So there's something to do with like a genetic disposition to kidney stuff. Oh, and it's in my genome pool. But just my immune system, I just need to upgrade it. So I'm doing that. I'm upgrading his immune system, but there is radon in the air. It's getting into your home through the ducts, through the ducts. So it's in the dirt. And there's really, just put an ion filter. Please tell me there's an ion filter. My eyes are closed. I've never heard of such a thing, but it has to do with ionic, like ionic, something with that. And if you just get like one in the living room, one in his room, and that would be good. Like, I don't think you need to spend hundreds of dollars on this. It should not break your bank. It should be something you can do. but it's important. I can't tell you it's not. I don't want him on oxygen. You know what I mean? So I am going into his lungs. There's spores in there. It's almost like what mold would do, but I feel like this is RSV and like radon associated. And I'm removing some of this fluid. It's almost like a little bit of fluid in my lungs. I got fluid in my lungs. And I'm bringing it out like with bubbles, and it's just coming out. So he might cough more, but that's okay. You want him to excrete it, it's going to happen. He will filter it out. He will start to get better from here on out. My ear is starting to clog, but it's like coming through my sinuses tenfold. I feel like shit. Like, I'm not kidding you. I don't feel good. This is all his symptoms. Oh, it's yucky. And my head hurts. So I'm going into his blood as well, and I'm working on his like leukocytes and his T cells, my leukocytes, my T cells, and all the mucus. I'm taking the mucus out of the lungs. I'm taking the, and it hurts when I'm doing that. My lungs hurt, like they burn. I'm taking them. Oh, they burn. They burn. They burn. They burn. Ooh. Ooh, it burns. It burns. It burns. My lungs burn. And my head hurts. I feel like I'm pulling it through and out of my pores. I'm pulling it through him, and it's going through my body and out of my pores. And I literally feel like I have the flu right now. Like, I feel horrible. I can't reiterate that enough. And my lungs, it burns. And I almost feel like I'm blowing like this air into his lungs, and it's almost like smoky, but it's taking out this fluid. It's taking this fluid, it's causing this fluid to come out. And then in his heart, like there's a little mucus in the valve as well. And I'm just pulling that out. And even possibly a slight murmur in the heart, and I'm just healing it. Nothing big. I'm not even sure they would catch that. Just a slight one. And now it's rising into my sinus cavity, and I don't feel good. I don't feel good. The genome is repaired. His genetic makeup is repaired. And then I'm just shining light through that. And then my immune system is starting to burst. I need to go through his bone marrow a little bit and put some light bursts into his bone marrow. And that will help also, like a little bowing in the legs, just strengthening the bone structure, because they're starting to fuse in different plates. His different plates are just starting to come together, which is at the right stage. It will continue. But I just need to strengthen those a little bit. That way his legs are nice and strong. He's super cute. Oh my gosh. He's the cutest little guy. Oh. And then going up the spinal fluid, it's tiny bit murky. Just a tiny bit murky. I feel like this has to do with like the immune system boost and just filtering out all of the muck, like the body's fighting itself. And a slight lymph node drainage. I'm starting to feel better. A little bit. It's more in my head now and in my sinuses and like my upper chest. But I don't feel as fevery. I don't feel as pissed off. I'm not as angry. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to be more clear in my head. And my ears are starting to draw through. I'm removing a little more mucus right here. It's like, owie. Almost like if I laid down, my whole cheek would be red and inflamed, you know? Like it's just, So he's getting a boost, a melatonin, a hormone boost. It's really truly building his immune system up. I'm not just boosting. I'm building. And almost like his urine would smell funny. You know what I mean? Because I'm in the kidneys and the liver when I'm building his immune system. And so it says like a little bit of tingy at times, and that should clear up too. Like I'm normally a happy little dude, and I've just not been happy, like at all. That's how you know. It's like, so it went from deep in the lungs to chest level. So I'm there. I'm in his upper chest, his upper lungs, his bronchial tubes, his esophagus, and the lymph nodes. I'm going to drain them a little bit more, but he's so little it doesn't take me a lot. It's just like, oh, my head, my head, my head. So I'm sending light through his sinus cavities, and I'm almost like drawing out. So there's spores in there too. Radon. I keep hearing radon. And then RSV. Pedialyte, definitely Pedialyte. Lots of Pedialyte. You can do popsicles. That would be awesome. Pedialyte popsicles, like super yummy, super cold. Feels so good on my teeth. The Pedialyte popsicles and Pedialyte, and just put that in his water. Keep doing that for a good 3 or 4 days, up to 5 days. Definitely need Pedialyte. Pedialyte. And then the ionosphere, an ion filter, ionosphere. I need to ionosphere my room. I need an ion filter. And Pedialyte, lots of Pedialyte, lots of Pedialyte, lots of love. Just give me lots of love, okay? And I'll be all right. My immune system is like, poof, it's like Supermaning. Like, I don't know how else to say that. Like, it's growing, it's strengthening. And I might get conjunctivitis as well as a symptom. But that's okay. Like I feel yucky in my eye. Remember the pressure in my eye? So it might come conjuncty. And that's okay. It might filter out some conjuncty, but it should go quickly. So I'm like pushing all this mucus out of my eye. Like pink, they call that pink eye, but it's like conjunctivitis. It gets all muky. That can be a symptom sometimes as well. And my head hurts. So I'm finishing. I went from here to up here. So now I'm in the head, and my fever feels like it's breaking. I'm Superman. Like when I keep saying like Superman, like I'm Supermaning my immune system. I'm making it fly. I'm making it super. And they do have elderberry for infants. Find that. Infant elderberry. You want something with elderberry in it, okay? That will help his immune system adjust. Pedialyte, necessity. Popsicle Pedialytes. I'm going to really like those because my teeth hurt. And then I need elderberry. And then the ionosphere. I need to ionize my space. I'll be all right. Take a deep breath. You let the shadow in a little bit, though. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I'm kind of switching into mommy's sphere, mommy's energy, and we let this. It's just too much chaos because I need to see clearly. I need to take a step back. Somebody else's shadow got me. It wasn't my own. That's what they're saying. It's quite strong, and it will rise. And this full moon is also reflecting it. They're giving you strength. So you are being surrounded by lions right now, but so is your daughter, Brooklyn. And unicorns. Like literally seeing unicorns come in and surround her. Uh, just give her space. She'll be okay too. She's strong for sure. She's like you, very stubborn, strong-willed, witty as all get out. So I'm kind of transitioning into her a little bit. Oh, yep, I'm feeling Tyler kind of leave my energy a little bit. My head is still mucky, and I'm still kind of pushing some out, so I might go back and forth. But I'm kind of switching to her. She needs a journal. Does she have a journal? And she likes to color. Can she color? She needs that release a little bit right now. Give her an escape. Give her joy. She bring joy into the moment. Don't focus on the sad, focus on some joy. And I know that sounds really strange, but like give her something to do, something to color, something to laugh with that will help. It will help. It'll help release some of that. But there's strength being called in for both of you. So I see the lions around both of you. Osriel is coming in because there is a transition. So somebody did cross over, and I see that. So there is some grief, but that's a rebirth, right? So a death, rebirth, reflection for sure. It's hard with kids because they understand more than we know, but then again, that's like that level, right? Like it's so hard. So I see the rainbow crossing. So it is reflecting from her. There's a rainbow crossing. She's a little bit of a medium here because I feel like she can see the rainbow, not like in our sky, but like on the other side. And that's where the colors are reflecting. And that's where I see the unicorns. And I like to draw, and I like to express what I see because she sees. It's not just like she sees. The rainbow. I see the rainbow. She sees the rainbow. So a lot of times when we'll connect with loved ones, there's like a rainbow bridge, they'll call it, right? Some people need that in order to connect with spirit. They'll go to the rainbow bridge and they'll call forth a spirit. But she's like, can see the rainbow. She straight up can see the rainbow. It's very strange. I haven't seen that like that before, especially not in a child. So she may not be, I don't think it's fully developed, and I don't think she understands that. And just give her space to open up when she does. But a journal would be really good for her. A special journal, like fuzzy, like pink or purple or green or blue, something that just brings out a little creativity in her and joy and gives her a space of comfort. But I feel like that is a release for her as well. Like I like to color, to draw, I creative release. She's very creative, very creative. And just keep focusing on that. Keep focusing on truth. Never be afraid of the truth with her because she already sees it. She sees a rainbow, right? Like she sees the rainbow. She could see the crossing. It's really strange. I don't know if she knows that yet. So I wouldn't be afraid of truth. She understands quite well. She can deal with a lot, right? But at the same time, reflect the joy in the moment, and it's okay for her to feel joy in these times as well. That's okay because she would be the type to just diminish her joy to help others. But there's something here with the rainbow. So she might quite be a medium later on. I wouldn't push that on her right now because I don't understand it all the way, right? Like, but I see the rainbow. I see the rainbow crossing. And then I'm back to Tyler. Like my head and my ears hurt. And then what do I hear about her father? There's something about her father. Is he a druggie? I don't mean to bring this up, but it's like in the energy, and there might be a lesson that needs to learn, and that might hurt her later on as well. So just give her strength in these tough moments because you can't protect her from them all. Okay? Does that make sense? You cannot protect her from all of the moments of grief and sorrow that might come her way. But we can give her strength in the moment and teach her how to release the emotions, teach her how to reflect those emotions and what she feels at her level. Give her that access to release those and talk to you and be the open for her to talk to when she's ready, right? So if she says not yet, just plant the seed, show her I'm here. We can draw and color, and that will help her release those emotions. Because I feel like she has to be strong. She's just has to be strong. And I'm getting a lot of chills when I say that. She's got more lessons coming in the future. She has to process the strength through. But it's just because it is what it is, okay? You can't protect her from it necessarily, but If you give her the avenue in the moments of grief and provide her comfort, which she loves to draw, she loves to color, she'll sit down with you and do those things. And that's a release. And then her emotions should open up. And a journal would help her. And then something about a book. She could write a children's book at her age. Have you considered that? Back to Tyler. Going back to Tyler, in my head and my nose right here. And I'm already feeling good, so I might get really tired. I still have to process. It'll still be a couple days before I'm really feeling so much better. I need to ionize my air. And then a little conjunct should release. But very quickly. Maybe even just a little gunky. But I'm finally feeling better. So my teeth hurt a little bit. I need the popsicle, the Pedialyte popsicle would help with that. Yeah, just like nom, 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 nom. And even those ones you could stick in the freezer. Oh, I feel like I need to chew on that. Yeah, you're a little cranky with that. My teeth are trying to break through it. I need to gnaw on that. Okay. And then as far as mommy goes, you need to pay attention to the energies. Be very diligent with the energies. Be very mindful in the moment. Do not let things distract you because something got you. Okay. So just be very mindful in the moment. Listen to your gut over everything, not your head, your gut. Even if it goes against what other people think you should do. This goes with the medical field and all, sunshine. You need to listen to your gut. Because something doesn't quite match, right? Pay attention to that. Your gut's telling you things. Seeing if there's anything else. You're being given strength and they're calming the energy for you. They will be fine. Tyler will be okay. He needs ion. I need ion air. Okay. It's a necessity. When I see one of those filters, like a black tower almost, and almost has like a hole in the center or something, and then like a light or something weird. Like I need ion. I need to ionize my air. And his immune system, I rebuilt some of that. Like I'm Supermaning it, like woo, like strength and super soar. I'm soaring. And she is just going to have to learn to release the emotions as she has them, because we all can't. At times we all have to feel them, and it sucks ass. She does have a journey. She's very strong, and she has to be strong. It's reflecting, but she also sees the rainbow. There's something about crossing over with her. Like she can see it. So I don't know if on the other side she would help people cross over. And this might be something that she develops later on in life as well. If not already noticing it, she might. But again, I don't know if you'll be able to draw that out of her yet if she hasn't mentioned it. But if you it's about the rainbow and colors. I need to color, I need to draw. And when I do that, I can release my emotions better. It's like an escape from the head, and it allows her to bring forth the emotions, but she doesn't know how, right? Like, I don't know what I feel. And so if I'm drawing and coloring and that will help me reflect. It will help me release and be in the moment. Very creative, very artsy, very smart, very quick. Almost like smarter than her class, right? Like she's very smart. And then Tyler, his ear is clearing finally. But I still feel yucky. He needs Pedialyte. I can't take it. He just has to process everything I did now. He's going to rest. Be mindful if he is on medications. He definitely needs Pedialyte, and even the popsicle ones. And then I need an ion air. I need ion air. I'm going to have to look that up. So I'm starting to come out of his energy, out of her energy. Okay. Aw. Yay! I love that. He takes elderberry. Sweet. Keep having him do that. He does have conjunctivitis. I didn't know that, did I? Oh, I love that. Wait, we have all of that. He is sleeping calmly and peacefully. Oh, hi, Amy. Yay. So Becca almost missed her healing. I'm so glad she showed up because that was a necessity. Man, girl, I took on his symptoms. That was horrible. So you have an ion humidifier, or is that what you're saying? You have all of that? Is there such a thing? What the hell is that? Ion air purifier. That is true. There is one. And it does look like I said there's a light. Yeah, like a tower and it has a light. Holy shoot, I didn't know that existed. So you have one? He has para-influenza and is on oxygen. Okay. So that's why I kept saying I don't like the oxygen. I don't want him on oxygen. Okay, you got the Pedialyte? Sweet. And I wouldn't have known anything about that. I did not know anything about that at all. I felt like shit in his energy. Oh my God. Yeah, and the flu. I kept saying that. But look, they do have exactly what I said. It's like a tower and it has a light. So those are real. And I mean, I would just definitely get one. Oh, well, I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't know they existed and I got it through the healing. So I believe in it. It has to do with the radon connection. So I don't know, but it came out in the healing. So, oh, my head still hurts. So an air ionizer. So there's a difference. Air purifiers don't cover it. It's the air ionizer. That's what kept coming out in the reading. Okay, so just be very careful with that. And I didn't know that even existed. Some of these things don't say good things about them, but I got it through the thing. So just be sure you get an ionizer. Yeah, they're not harmful. So some of these things are contradictory to what they say about them. And make sure it's the ionizer, not the purifier. It has to do with the radon. So I don't know. There's different things in here. So definitely again, I don't go with against what Spirit said over what they say out there. However, go with your gut. Read about them. Learn about an ionizer. Okay. But what I get a lot of times goes against medical understanding. So I trust Spirit over anything else, and I didn't even know they existed. So what I will tell you is it came through in the healing. How many times did I say it? Quite a few. So it might have to do with the radon in this area. You can also learn about eliminating the radon from your home. So clean the air and then you enter. Sweet. I don't know. This is Becca needs to definitely look into that. Read about it, but I would read it from the box. And there's a lot of different things when I looked it up. And then a lot of people were like, air purifiers to ionizer. I do know it came in the healing, so listen to that specifically. You need to ionize the air, and it has to do with the radon. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, and I don't want to push too much of information on her. I just know it came through in the healing, and look it up, okay, Becca? Because maybe you can't. I don't know. Um, yeah, sweet. So that's his shadow, Becca, and that's what I was concerned about. Oh, he has a double ear infection. Yeah. Yeah. So everything I said was spot on. So I wouldn't doubt the ionizer either. You know what I'm saying? Um, because I didn't even know they existed. They just showed me an image of the light in the tower and they said it. So I would say it definitely has something to do with something. It's definitely needed. Trust your gut, read about it, get what you need to get. Radon's hard because it's like in the dirt, right? Like we can't exactly eliminate it, but you can research that as well. And I think you could even get like a radon thingy. Yeah, what was really cool. Um, okay, I'll read all your comments. What was really cool though, Becca, is I got to take his symptoms through me. So a lot of times I'll just read it and give them a healing. I was able to process some of those for him. And I still feel shit because of it, but that's a blessing because he's so little. I was able to do that. I don't just do that. You know what I mean? That's a gift. So he should heal pretty quickly. I didn't know he had conjunctivitis. Everything I said, you are validating, and I had no idea. So I would listen to it. You can watch it over again. Let me see if I missed anything. Does have conjunctivitis. It should clear up because I felt that it was disgusting. But that's a symptom. Keep up with the elderberry, but I also boosted his immune system. So it should get stronger and stronger. And with your daughter, I love that. Like she could write a book now. You could do that with her now. Um, and the coloring, look at that, all spot on. I didn't know any of that. And yeah, comfortable with because she sees the rainbow. She like can see people cross over. I don't know if she understands that yet. I think she did it on the other side is some people help people cross over, you know? And I think she's one of those. And I get a lot of chills when I say that. Top of her class every year. Okay. So the oxygen, I don't know what they told you with that or how long you would need to do it. Like he should get better and better and better and better from this day forward, regardless. Um, But I would look into the ion. Now there's an ion purifier and then there's an air purifier. Do a little research because Lisa said something about you can't have it in the room with you. I don't know. All I know is it came through in the healing. And so I would look into it, do research on it, and then trust your gut. Okay. But because of the fact that I kept getting it and I'm spot on with everything else, I tend to trust what I get over the collective and the medical field because they don't always know. And his ears should get better. There's a lot of congestion. My head still hurts. So you can cleanse the home as well um, because it's in the air, but I think everybody will be okay. Just wash the bedding and wash the pillows on the couch, Becca. So, and that again, he should never be sad by what I do or what I say. It's a blessing, right? So, what that is he's reflecting the shadow back. Okay. Does that make sense? Absolutely. Until his PCP says he can be off of it. Okay, but like if he gets better, then take him in quickly, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Because I thought you guys were going to come to the healing for Steve when a couple weeks ago or last week because he needs it too. And so I feel like the shadow may have stopped that. Just don't ever let that happen, okay? Yeah, I'm sure he does as a parent when your child is sick and you have to leave. Heck yeah. Totally feel guilty. Yes, and he has a big heart, so that makes a lot of sense. But I would tell you I didn't know any of that and everything was spot on. So thank you for validating that. So I would listen to it if you need to listen to this again. It's recorded for a reason, so listen to it again. And your daughter and everything. So for you, just slow down and be in the here and the now. Pay attention to the energies so that you can see the shadow more clearly and more clearly as you go. Okay? Because with Tyler, too, is something about the kidneys. There's a genetic connection there. And when you sage the house, just open the windows. There's no need that you have to close the windows to do it. Open the windows, let the fresh air flow through as you do it, and it should be fine. Actually, saging can help eliminate pollen and particles of asthma and all kinds of things in the air as well. So just let the air flow through. I don't know how an oxygen tank would do with ion stuff. You got to do a little research about that. Okay? But I didn't know they existed either. And she said they had to use them in Mexico, so maybe you have to do it to the air and then leave the room. I don't know. Do some research. But he'll be okay. I took all of his symptoms for him. That sucked. So he'll be okay. I feel like shit now, but he'll be okay. I don't get to do that often. Usually I just feel them and bypass them. But this time they let me pull him through me for him. So he'll be okay. I love the validations too. I had no idea. Which is great validations. I had no idea. I did know you told me he went to the hospital and he was sick. That's all I got. That's all I knew. So that was pretty cool. Even I'm always like, wow, even though I do these all the time, I love the validations. There's no way I could have known. Yeah, do your research because of some of the things Lisa said too about the ionosphere, just research. I know. I'm so happy she showed. You almost didn't make it, Becca. You almost didn't make it. I was like bitching up a storm. I'm like, she ain't here again. Ah, don't let the shadow stop you ever. It's a blessing, right? It's always a gift. So I'm glad you made it. Yes, absolutely. I'm glad it does. So just give him lots of love. Keep the popsicles because his teeth are hurting. His immune system was strengthened. The elderberry, keep doing that, right? You already do that. So you tune in a lot. Just keep tuning in. Trust your gut though because every time I do something, I get something different than maybe what the medical field would say. And I always tend to trust what I see because it's always validated, right? Aw, me knowing that his cup is his comfort too. Like, how would you know that? I didn't know that. I was in him. Oh, I know, little Tyler. Yeah, I wouldn't know that, Becca. I would never know. I didn't know that. There's no way I would know that. You've never told me that. I mean, you've only come to a few of my lives, right? So I don't know. It always has to sleep with it. Oh, that is his comfort. How cute. I was totally in him. It's so cool. I love what I do. Isn't it amazing? Aw. Yeah, I wouldn't know that. No way I would. I love it. So you should feel better. You're fine. Just don't let the shadow stop your husband either. You guys are twin flames. You're like down the line, right? On the twin flames, but it still doesn't mean your shadow won't try to get you. So just watch his health too, because I was hoping he would have been here. Aw, just saying so are you. Thank you. These things are amazing and it's a gift. It's a blessing. And it's not one you can find every day. So never let anything stop you. For shizzle, because when we try to rise, something always will. I'm so glad you were here, Becca. I was like, I came here for nothing. I was so sad. And just it was like, oh, well, I can get a message. That way it's not for nothing. I go, it's not for nothing. And then she's like, well, maybe Becca will come in the end. I was like, yeah, I don't know. She didn't come last time. Like, I was like really bummed. I'm so glad because that was a necessity. I wouldn't have known any of that. I didn't know he had conjunctivitis. I didn't know any of that. You didn't tell me anything. That's why I don't like to be told anything. All I knew is you messaged, said he was in the hospital. He was sick. Can he get a healing? I said, come to the live. You said, okay. And that was it. See? Right there. She said, I kept trying to, and I got call after call. That's what I'm talking about. Whenever you try to get something good from God or something like that, something will try to stop you. That's the way the shadow works. And that's why I was like, oh, dang it. It got her again. Oh. We'll have Steve rewatch the video so he can feel better as well. Because there's no way I would have known any of that. And then he'll feel better. No guilt. Parent guilt sucks, right? Because we have to do things. Yeah. And doesn't it suck too? It's like we have to work. We can't be there for our kids. Being a single mom, I felt that every which way. I had jobs telling me, you're going to get fired. I would say, kiss my ass. So I created my reality where I work at home and my kids go to school at home because I got tired of them telling me I couldn't raise my kids. I couldn't be there for them. It was really hard, man. This world, right, can kiss our butts. So, yeah, no guilt. You have beautiful kids, Becca. They both have gifts. Yeah. Yeah. And that's true. And they'll know our kids come first, but if we miss so much, we're fired either way, right? So, yeah, it's bullshit. It's hard. Yes, they're very beautiful. You're a good mommy. I'm so glad you came today. I am so freaking glad. And you almost missed it. I was just about done. I did a message for Jacinth, and we were talking, and I gave the collective message. That was just so close. I'm so thankful. Now I feel yucky. I'm doing this detox, and we did it on the brain last night, and then taking his symptoms on. Now I feel completely sick. Amy came in a bit ago and said she was feeling rough. Like, oh man, these things I do are real. They kick your butt. It was a great healing, right? Amy, I'm glad you came. Go ahead and start detoxing through like juices and teas and stuff. You don't have to not eat, but just eat a little healthier and detox. Drink lots of water, teas. We will go over more tomorrow to continue that journey when we reconvene. Heck yeah, I think I might, I don't know, I was going to take my kids to get some clothes, but I don't know if I'm going to make it out now. I'm just going to clean my house. I'm so glad you guys were here. I love you all so much. Take nothing lightly right now. Take everything as a challenge of your soul, because everything is right now, because the world is ending in the way we knew it. So there's two different realities. One is the shadow reality and one is God's world, okay? So nothing should be taken lightly. Everything should be paid attention to in the decisions that you make right now. Yeah, it was so cool. I know. Lisa said she didn't sleep good at all. I slept good, but man, I didn't want to get up. My head, my sinuses, you can see it. I'm like, bring the detoxing on, right? Let's do it. Heck yeah. Be very kind to yourselves, you guys. No more healing today. So we will go over more detoxing stuff, but you can look up juices. Like Lisa was saying earlier, she'll add fruits to her celery water. Just, you know what I mean? Fruits, vegetables. You want to put some greens and with the color, you know what I mean? Those kinds of things are what matters. Limit your sugar. Yeah, celery and apple is pretty good. Heck yeah, and those are both really good for you. And you can even do a little pineapple. Hopefully you like pineapple. Go with what you like. Just avoid the sugary stuff. Avoid the meat. And drink lots of fluids. So I'll juice a lot today. I'm going to do my celery. But I also have avocado and some beans. So, you know, healthy. Healthy. To go without, sometimes we need the good going in. You know what I mean? So never starve. You could fast a little bit. but not too much. Because we need to flush, we need to purify. Because as I'm hitting our system, we need to keep pushing it out, right? And like Gigi, she's not here, but she mentioned baths, take your salt baths. I'm going to go just love myself. Why not? Do my nails, those kinds of things, and have fun. I'm going to make some more of these. You guys see these? I freaking love these. They're getting better and better and better and so pretty. So I'm going to go make some more of these. I love these things, and they're filled with Christ's light, and the way they reflect the sun is just so pretty. So I'm going to go do my joys. That's what you guys should do too, okay? And I'm so glad Becca was here today. Like, my heart feels full. In the first half, I'm like, oh, she let the shadow get her again. And I was bummed. But Dessain was right. She's like, maybe she'll come at the end. And she did. So it makes me happy. All right, you guys. I love you lots and lots and lots. I will be doing a video tomorrow about the new earth and the difference. Shadow didn't win today. That's right. I'm going to try, didn't it? She came on and her phone kept going off and going off and going off. Hell no, because when you do a healing with me, you rise and you rise. They're not normal. So the shadow always comes into play with stuff I do, from the words I say to the healings, and you can see that more and more. So it didn't win today. Woo, woo, woo. I love it. And he needed that. And what a blessing I got to pull that out for him. I'm thankful I got to do that. Because he was so little. I don't feel like he would have processed it very well. So just know he's fine. Okay? Shadow didn't win. All right, I love you guys dearly. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. You're so welcome. Hey, you showed up. It takes two. It takes two. All right, sunshine. Thank you guys for being here. And for whoever watches later, if they actually watch the whole way, you rock. Because most people let them shadow stop them. I can't talk straight. My sinuses are wackadoodle. I'm going to go take the rest of my day off and just to do fun things. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.